So the question is, which accent do I want to use for my recaps for this? Because I'm getting tired of doing my soap opera voice. So why don't I use the movie fortune teller voice? Please note that this has no relation to any real accent that exists in the real world. Let's see if this gets me canceled. Last time on Zodiac Academy, The Awakening, we met two sisters who are twins, and they are Gemini, because you cannot be twins without being Gemini. Those are the rules. Both the sisters make a living doing crimes in Chicago, the crimiest place in the world. But after they have done crimes, both sisters encounter a strange, preppy man who seems to be made of muscles. The preppy man spends several pages drinking a glass of water, and then he whisks the girls away to fairyland, where it turns out that they are long-lost princesses and have every power. And that's pretty much as we got. Hello, we're back again for the next chapter of Zodiac Academy and The Awakening. You'll be pleased to know that there are ferrets somewhere around here running around, so I'm going to try to read through this chapter quickly. We'll see if I talk too much. I will say of this book that aside from the weird punctuation issues and like some language stuff that I have pointed out so far, definitely not the worst thing that we have read on this channel. Cyborg Tinkerer, so much worse. The Ables, so much worse. So like, even though this book is not trying to be anything other than what it is, i.e. just a cheesy, fanficky feeling book where you can just have emotions and tropes, it's still not doing too bad. Now, granted, we are not very far. We have read worse on this channel. We are back with Tory, the sister whom I prefer because the author's writing is just a smidge better. Although it wasn't, the punctuation thing already wasn't as bad in Darcy's second chapter, so I don't know what was up with that first chapter, but somebody needed to go back over it. I don't know how much editing books like this get when it's like rapid release, like just get the next book out. They probably self-edit, I'm gonna guess. They probably don't like send it away to someone because, you know, that takes time and that takes money. That's just a guess. I actually have no idea what the process is. By the way, if you hear voices, Adam's office is directly above my office and he's in a meeting right now, so that's his voice that you hear. Also, Tory just got her like new powers. To save pages that could be spent with her like mentally dealing with that, she's just into it. She's like, ugh, the powers, they feel so right, they feel so good. I should be upset, but I'm not. So now the choosing ceremony is over, the sorting hat ceremony, if you will, and everybody's just like buggered off. And the girls are just standing in the field, just being like, oh my gosh, we're so powerful now. Yeah, they are completely like down with the fact that they have magic. She's already like, thanks to the magic inside me, I didn't trip because I was totally very clumsy before. Sure, we barely got to know you, but you were totally clumsy up until the magic was involved. But they're already like on board with the magic. I almost like wonder why they had to be normal people to begin with. Like if they're just gonna be so chill about it immediately. We have a lot of sort of dialogue tags that don't necessarily need to be there. She breathed, she gushed. You can use that stuff. I don't like people who say that you should never use that stuff. I hate when people insist that you should only ever use said, but you don't want to use it too often and in too close proximity to each other, which is what we are doing here. And really, we don't need any dialogue tag. I'm Sophia, she breathed, casting a glance behind us. I'm Sophia, she cast a glance behind us. And a lot of people, when I say stuff like that, they're like, you're being too nitpicky. Well, yeah. Like, this is the next level stuff we're looking at here on this channel. We're done with just the sort of overall blanket stuff of make your story readable, and we're on to the next level here. Fortunately, a girl named Sophia has just showed up and is like, hi, I will be your exposition guide, so you can learn all about this place. So we have a moment where we could have some like character conflict, and I struggle with this too. My characters just kind of tend to be too reasonable sometimes, and I should really have them be less reasonable. But we have a moment where she goes, I wasn't really programmed to expect help from people I didn't know, or those who I did know for that matter. Where we grown up, people don't just do something for nothing. So that's great. So I'm expecting her to be oppositional, to be sort of prickly towards this girl. You know, oh, here's some interpersonal conflict right away. But instead, we just get that hand waved away. But as I looked at Sophia's earnest expression, I couldn't help but think of her as just that. Here's another example of something you don't need. The path beneath my feet turned from dirt to gravel. We assume because you have been walking, and you've been following a path, that it is indeed the one beneath your feet. If it's a separate path somewhere else, you would tell us that. You can just call it the path. So they find the first building, which is made to look like the sun, and it's called the Orb. Ooh, I think we have our bad boy bunch, our reverse harem, if you will. They go into the Orb, and a red couch stood out amongst all the others. Its 4 occupants all looked deliciously bored. I'm not sure what makes their boredom delicious, but I'm gonna assume it's because they're all super hot. Very vampires entering the cafeteria kind of vibe from Twilight here. Like, who are they?
There's no way, he's so skinny. Doesn't make sense. Totally. Who are they?
Oh yeah, immediately the guys are very attractive. I'd never seen a group of guys who were quite as alluring as them. I would have thought they were siblings, except they look so different, I knew that couldn't be the case. Good deductive reasoning skills there, I like it. Of course, they all have the exact same body type, very Jenna Moreci vibes here. If you are a woman or a man who is attracted to any body type except like perfectly sculpted muscular Adonis, you are out of luck with this kind of book, I'm afraid. And you know, people who are attracted to those other body types, we exist. So like, please cater to us once in a while.
When I first read this section, I ran a little poll on my YouTube, and it seems that I'm not alone in being a little bit sick of the same body types over and over and over. Just something to consider if you're writing romance. Just to consider.
They're just going down the line of hot boys. And the first boy on the left, he's black, and of course they describe his skin as dark as coffee, because clearly we have not learned to stop describing people of color as food. People of color have asked us to please stop describing their skin as food colors. There are names for most of the colors of brown that are not food. So like, just use one of them. I will try to remember, come on Julian, try to remember to put an article about describing people of color sensitively instead of just using food down in the doobly-doo. Also, I don't know the heritage of the 2 women who wrote these books, but looking at their pictures, they do appear to be very white. Maybe I could be wrong. We have a lot of white women writing sort of ambiguously brown main character girls in a lot of these like indie books that I've been reading lately, and I don't know how to feel. Okay, so the first 2, we've got the black guy, the hot black guy, who's like the best described. And then there's the guy next to him. I thought we were just gonna go down the line. He's got golden curls, so we're gonna assume he's white. But then she just stops. She just apparently got bored of looking at hot boys and doesn't describe the other 2. She looks at her sister, like, how's my sister doing with all of these revelations? This is a really crazy situation we found ourselves in. And of course, Darcy is just grinning because, like, both of these girls are absolutely thrilled to find themselves in this fairy tale situation and are not at all concerned that they turned out to be like the opposite of who they thought they were. Their entire life has been essentially a lie, and they were like abandoned to that horrible life, but they're just like, well, we're here now and we have magic, so all other concerns forgotten. These are such Winx Club names, like they're meeting Principal Nova, and I'm just like, But the principal is like, so everybody's gonna be watching you as you try to reclaim the throne, and the girls are like, the throne? Because Professor Orion was needlessly vague and spent most of his scene asking for a glass of water and sitting on their couch rather than explaining anything to them. One thing I remember in somebody else's review hearing about was that the Gemini, a trait of Gemini is supposed to be that they're curious, and neither of these girls are curious. They're just like everything surface level, like, We could ask questions about this. What's happening to us? What's going on? Where are we in relation to where we were? We have no questions. We have magic now, and that's cool. So since our heroes' parents died here in the magical realm, these like 4 big houses have been holding power. But oh good, the girls are back to restore the total monarchy. And I'm like, that's better. How? I guess we're just meant to assume that like the true king and queen, the true queens now of fairyland are just gonna be automatically better than these 4 households. But of course they have to graduate the magical academy first. They're princesses, like fucking put them on the throne. Who cares if they graduate from college? You know what I would love? Okay, this is not the direction the story's gonna go. But what I would love is we've got these 2 girls whose only thought for how to earn money is crime. And they do ask, she asks, so like, did our parents leave us jewels and crowns and stuff in their will? And I'm like, what I want, the version of the story that I want, is that these 2 girls are here to rob fairyland. Like, okay, maybe they were brought here by mistake, but they're going to take full advantage of this opportunity. They are going to rob fairyland blind. I want that book. Somebody write that. Somebody write the version of Zodiac Academy where that is what's going on. I know what we're doing. It's time for a fairyland heist. These parents did not think this out very well, because they're like, we must hide our daughters away in the human realm so that they may be safe and never know anything of the fairy realm. But when they come back to collect their inheritance and become queens, they have to graduate from fairy college, with which they will have had 0 experience or knowledge if we did our jobs right to hide them. So it's almost like their parents don't actually want them to become queens. Do we have terrible plans? Oh my goodness, I think we might have terrible plans already. I feel like we're just flying through this bingo card because that is a terrible plan. Aha, we've looked back to the guys. We're gonna get some more description. One of them has chestnut hair and animal eyes, so I bet he's like a werewolf or something. Everybody's still fucking smiling. These people are the smiliest people on earth. This author also has taken a great liking to the word amongst. We've had the word amongst used 3 times in 2 paragraphs. I think that might be one of those cases where it's not necessarily maybe a crutch word, but like, my brain does this, your brain does this, all of our brains do this. We'll use a word that we like, or not even realize that we like, and then we'll use it again several times in close succession to each other, and we won't even realize it, and we can even read back through the book and not even realize it, which is what like beta readers and such are for, because they'll see it and they'll notice this word repetition. Alternately, I found I catch it best when I have my word program text-to-speech read me my work back to me. I am also more likely to notice those things. Hi, baby girl. Hi. I'm up here. You want to come say hi to the people? Oh, everyone. We are blessed. It is Chai. Hi, baby. Oh, such a sweet baby. Yes, you are. I'm sorry to disturb you. You may go back to playing. So they are announced to be the Lost Queens and everywhere the Lost Princesses. I think they would be queens because their parents are dead, but they, I guess, haven't ascended the throne yet. So lost future queens, and everybody clapped. But we look back at the couch to get a description of the final guy. Everybody has like dark eyes. Ooh, we have the goth boy, while he is also equally muscular and hot, and we have to describe his muscularness. All of these guys are built like fucking linebackers. That's not for me. I don't like really muscular guys, so I'm sitting here being like, no, thank you. She is just staring at this last guy. He's getting even more description than the first guy. The 2 middle guys barely got any description, like hair color, and that's it. Got the hot black guy on one end, and then this guy on the other end with his jet black hair and his tattoos and his broodiness, like his hair is like just low enough to like shade his eyes, his dark broody eyes. And she is like immediately horny for this guy. So I think he's gonna be, I've heard that like the girls each have like a main pairing, so I'm sure that this guy is gonna be her main one. He was dangerous in all the right ways, and I knew without a doubt the fire in his eyes would burn me up if I stayed too close. It's that kind of ridiculous cheesiness that we turn to books like this for. And now the principal has decided that the girls need to go and meet these 4 hot linebackers who are gonna hate them because these are the heirs of the four houses. Man, what a disappointment for readers would it have been if one of those heirs had been a girl. No, they must all be incredibly hot in the same way. Dudes. Max, Rigel. Oh, the names in this. This is great. This is great. No, I love it. We have Max Rigel, Caleb Altair, Darius Acrew? I don't know. It seems like it might be French. And Seth Capella? Oh, apparently their original first names. Classic, fitting in with this world. Gwendolina and Roxania Vega. Those are such like white people names. You know how us white people, we love to just take like a normal name and throw more letters at it? So we couldn't have Gwendolyn. No, we have Gwendolina. And we couldn't have Roxanne. We had to have Roxania. I apologize on behalf of all white women, quite frankly. But Darcy's like, no, we're not going to be using those dumb names, and I stand by her. She is correct. They should not. Tory is referring to her boy of choice as dark and dangerous. Like, that's what she's calling him. That's his name in her head. Dark and dangerous, capital D's. But, of course, the principal is like, so I know you guys might be a little bit upset that all your power is going to be taken away because these two girls just, like, fucking showed up and are immediately the best. But I hope you'll be nice. It's like, no. Also, like, I know we have to deal with these guys. Like, this is the important part. We are not here for any deeper plot. But I'm like, what about their parents? Like, aren't their parents ruling right now? Wouldn't their parents also have something to say about these girls just showing up the fuck out of nowhere and all they have to do is graduate fairy college to take over your jobs and presumably all your riches and everything? Like, I think that it would be more than just a bully romance. I feel like hitmen would be coming after these girls. And maybe they will be, but I kind of doubt it. At least not in book 1. I've heard the books get better, so maybe we start to get some of that stuff. I don't know. You tell me if you've read them. Again, we have some of the most obvious do you think your readers are dumb writing. I'm not going to point it out every time, but it is abundant in this book. These authors explain everything to death, every single emotion, every single thought that these characters must be having, just in case you somehow missed it. And it's not because they don't have the skill to show, they just like don't seem to think that you will get it if they don't drill it into your head what's happening. Of course, when Dark and Dangerous speaks, Tory is like already creaming her pants because he's just so hot. It's gonna be annoying to me if every single time he does or says anything, we also get to hear about how hot he is. I am not going to be able to tell these boys apart, by the way. Like, if any of them do anything, like, Seth is in their way, and I've already forgotten which one Seth is. He's a hot, muscular guy, like all of them.
'Cause fit hot guys have problems too.
Of course, they're all super tall, or maybe the girls are short. It doesn't matter. It's romance tropes all the way down. So she's like, the guys have like stood up and are boxing them in, and she's like chest height, staring at his pecs. Oh my, we get it. We get it. So he calls her Roxy, which we know is it was last page. We know it was her name here and that she hates it. But the book feels like it needs to tell us, well, maybe you should look a little closer, Roxy. He taunted, using the name to try to get a rise out of me. Poking fun at my dead parents' choice of baby names. We get it! We don't need he taunted. We don't need to be told what taunting means. We get it. So Tory is the rebellious one, lest we forget. And she just like pushes her way out of the boys who are all being all snarly and masculine. And she brings Darcy with her. Darcy, who is the sweet, innocent one of the pair. But we are going to get right into the bully part of this bully romance because they don't even get to get away with it this time and then get bullied later. They are immediately being attacked.
I'm being attacked.
No, I'm not attacking you. I'm trying to be honest. Just hear me out.
It's good to know that there are absolutely no precautions taken in this magical school to make sure that children don't bite each other, because the guy who attacked her is now pinning her to the ground and biting her neck. Presumably he's a vampire. If you get killed in the school, you get killed in the school. That's part of your education. Yeah, Orion and the principal are standing right there watching disappointedly, so I guess this is supposed to happen. So I don't know if I can give this unhinged bullies, because yeah, normally I would, because these bullies have gone from 0 to homicidal in 60 seconds. But in this particular world, apparently that's just normal? I don't know, I'll give it a little bit more time. I'll probably give it unhinged bullies anyway, just because I think these bullies are going to escalate to sort of absurd range. But also, like, again, back to the bad plan, the terrible plan. Orion and the principal are just standing there looking disappointed. And they're like, oh, these girls can't defend themselves. And it's like, well, yeah. Because their parents sent them to the human world and gave them no information and no training. And you're going to stand here all disappointed because they don't know how to use their magic? Terrible plans. Terrible plans. Everybody's stupid. Terrible plans. What the fuck? The hot guy that she likes is staring down at her evilly. He smiled at me with all the smug satisfaction of a mainstream asshole. A mainstream ass... What is a mainstream asshole? This is one time I do want you to explain. Every now and then they use like phrases and descriptions that just make no goddamn sense. So the scene ends with her just still being eaten by a vampire. And that's fine. I'm gonna assume that vampirism in this world works differently and she won't now be a vampire herself. Or maybe, like, I don't know how vampirism in this world works. Maybe she has to do the thing where she has to drink some of his blood to actually be turned into a vampire. And he's just having a little snack right now. I mean, they're fairies. So can vampires eat fairies? Is that like a normal... I don't know. Whatever. It's the Zodiac Academy. We knew what we were getting ourselves into. I still have questions, but I know that none of the answers matter to this book at all. But please, somebody write me the Fairyland heist. I need it. I need it right now. Please and thank you. All right, I need to go find ferrets because they have been quiet for a while, and I'm worried that they're all up inside the couch now. I'll see you later.
So hey, now feels like the perfect time to mention that I am also a freelance developmental editor. So if you like what you see here and you feel like you want me to critique your book, now you can have that happen. Don't worry, I'll be nicer to your book. So hop on over to my Fiverr. I do offer your first 5K words for only $25 just to see if you like my style, so you really can't lose.
All right, you crazy kids, we are back for more Zodiac Academy. We are back with Darcy, who is, I think she's the more timid of the two sisters. So Darcy is being held back as her sister gets chomped on, and she manages to airbend the guy who is holding her off of her. Everyone is, like, stunned. Like, this guy just jumped on a girl and started to feed on her vampire style, and everyone just stood around like, yes, this is normal. But then another girl uses magic to get a hot guy off of her, and everyone's like... Also, again, more issues with their choice to have a very busy page. It's all in white text, so you can see it, except for the very bottom line, you can barely see because it is in black text. I don't know if that's a mistake, but you can not even really see it. You could miss it very easily. It's not super important, it's not a very important line. But yeah, the choices about, like, these chapter headers, not a fan, as we know. This is what I would definitely say if I was tackled to the floor by a vampire. What the hell is wrong with you, you psycho?
Help. Police. Murder.
But in case you're wondering, Tory is fine. It said her pride was more wounded than she was. She's just been bitten on the neck for a prolonged amount of time. But her pride's just a little bit bruised is all. Also, I have a new theory that I have formulated, that the teachers who do not care that this is happening are actually hoping that the girls die, and then the teachers plan to take over Fairy World. That's my theory now. They're hoping that these dumb magical kids will just kill each other off. It doesn't read smoothly, it reads very novice, it reads unedited, kind of. Like, I'm not getting a lot of spelling errors necessarily, but just the style and the word choices are very novice. And you do hope with authors who have written so many books that their craft would improve, and maybe it has. But also, when you are writing a lot of books and getting them out at speed, your craft is probably not really going to improve because you do kind of have to try. Like, a lot of people, when I say practice is one of my biggest points of advice for writing, they're like, well, lots of people write tons of shitty books and they never seem to get better, so why should I practice? And it's like, well, practice implies that you're actually trying to get better. Practice implies that you are making steps to attempt to improve your craft. To me, that's what practice means to me. Maybe that's not what it means to other people, but to me, the word practice implies trying to improve while doing the same thing, more of the same thing, versus if I didn't mean that, I would say repetition makes you better, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying practice makes you better. Apparently, these girls do have support from other people at the school, so like, the teachers are ignoring it, obviously. Clearly, this is the sort of magical school where the teachers are ineffectual and don't care, whatever. But the other students are like, hey, mean bully guys, back off. These are our queens now. So at least there's that. I'm sure that's not going to stop the mean bully guys, but somebody is attempting to help. But then the teachers apparently get bored, and they're like, so everybody who's got multiple elements, you get to choose what house you're going to be in, you know, Gryffindor, Slytherin, etc., etc. I know I'm using Harry Potter as an example because this is a magical school where we did immediately get a sorting ceremony, but this is not a new idea. Hers is the most well-known and most popular, which is why I'm using it, but there are lots of books where people were sorted into the various categories, and then we have quizzes about it online. So which Fae court are you in? And that, like, people love to be sorted into categories. So even though I'm using JKR as an example, we do not stand her here, first of all. And second of all, I'm just using her because she's like the most well-known and probably the most likely to be ripped off by people like this. But she did not invent this idea, she just made a popular version of it. Of course, the 4 hot guys are all the heads of the 4 different houses. Because, I mean, this is the book we're reading. Okay, here's a slight error. The headmaster says, and for suspense, we'll leave the newest heirs till last. Except for she doesn't have till like short for until, which is what she means. She has till, like tilling a field. The water house is House Aqua, because original thought is for books that are not this one. The earth house is House Terra, of course, and it's run by the vampire guy. And we're walking, and of course, we keep being reminded of how muscular all these guys are. It's like they are the same character model, each one of them. The air house is House Air, but it's spelled A-E-R. And of course, fire is House Ignis.
Everybody's so creative.
So they let the other people who have multiple, like, elemental abilities join whichever house they want. But, like, what if you had water and air abilities? Could you still join the firehouse? Like, how would that work? Firehouse. Makes it sound like they put out fires. Or they make subs. Either way, they don't seem to be having any rules against it, which seems like poor planning, but we already marked off terrible plans, so... I think terrible plans could also cover the fact that I am certain that this school will make absolutely 0 sense. One of the guys, Seth, has a girlfriend who is just the stereotypical blonde bimbo type. And of course, right as the girls are about to pick, Principal Nova is just like, oh, by the way, I'm a giant troll. You can't pick the same house. You have to go into different houses. Which she claims is because they like everyone to have healthy rivalry, but I know it's just because she's being a troll and wants to watch these people fight each other. I am just imagining her sitting up in her Dumbledore office, like, with a magical crystal ball or something, just watching the kids pummel the crap out of each other while she eats popcorn. Also, are there any other Geminis here, and are they also twins, and are they also forced to separate? I need to know. So Tori says that she will go with fire, which makes sense because she's the badass, rugged one. And then Darcy, it looks like, is going to pick air, which seems to be the nicest, friendliest one. Which also, I believe she said that they are an air sign. Did she say that about Gemini? I don't know, and I don't care enough to look it up. So, like, would their sign also not, like, cement what house they should be in? I don't know. The whole Zodiac thing just seems like a very thin framing device for this magical school. It doesn't seem like anything that the authors actually cared about or wanted to put a lot of thought into. This is a weird description. So she goes to air, where one of the guys, Seth, I can't remember which one he is, but presumably not the bitey one, gives her a hug, and it says, "It felt like eating a too hot cookie fresh out of the oven. It burned all the way down, but tasted divine." That is not how I would ever think to describe a hug. And of course, blonde girl comes up and she's like, hey girl, just so you know, my bae is in charge. So long as you get that, we're totally cool. I'm like, great. I can't wait to read more about this archetype that I love so much. I definitely think that Tory is gonna be going after Seth, but he has a girlfriend who's like your stereotypical hot blonde, so oh no, obstacle. So she goes to the air house, which turns out to be a giant tower that has a windmill at the top, although this author calls it an enormous rotating turbine, which is an odd way to say windmill. I think Seth is going to turn out to be a werewolf because he's like petting our main character, and I think that's a hint. Like, werewolves are like dogs and dogs like to be pet, so he's petting her. Also, she mentions that a lot of other people like just touch him randomly and he seems down with it, so I'm guessing werewolf. Now he's sniffing her. He's sniffing her now. And I assume she's gonna think that's attractive. And he's licking her. Good, good, love that. And he's like, when she's upset by this sniffing and licking, he's like, oh, it's okay, babe. That's how I say hello. And she just is like, oh, okay. Well, you are hot. This is like too real. Like, too real. Some guy is like creepy and rude in real life, and then when you protest, he's like, that's just how I say hello. I'm just trying to be friendly. And if you don't want to get, you know, stalked or attacked, you have to just pretend that you're okay with it then. Although she is more trying to be okay with it because he's hot. He also then asks her, so like, are you a siren, a vampire, a werewolf? I mean, you're all fae, right? So what about fairy? But now it's time for the hazing, and a bag is thrown over her head. Yes, he's definitely a werewolf. He's demanding that everyone call him Alpha. And for that, I absolutely loathe him, because this whole alpha thing needs to die. And also, alpha wolves, it's not real. The study was disproven. The guy who did the study has recanted it completely, but we're still obsessed with this whole idea of alpha males and alpha wolves. And I hate it. If you love it, that's fine. There's a whole like genre that has built up around it, and it just makes no goddamn sense to me, but if that's your thing, it's your thing. I'm not gonna yuck your yum, but I am not on board with it, personally. It squicks me out. It's gross. Fear was making a good effort at making me freak out. Welcome to How Not to Describe Emotions 101. This book will be our teacher. So she's guided, blindfolded, with all of the other pledges through the tower, and now they're told that they are at the top of the tower, and they are probably going to be told to jump off and either use their powers or trust their leader. I'm not sure which it's going to be. This is just your chapterly check-in that this writing is not good. How much longer is this chapter? I'm already sick of this character. Okay. I was a little suspicious that this was going to happen. She jumps, and it's just like a little bitty step, like a little bitty ledge, and she just hits the floor. No, it wasn't even that. It was just a mean prank that they did to her. I forgot, because she's the main character. Extra mean things have to happen to her all the time. I wonder why werewolves were chosen for the air house. I'm sure there were other species here, but like, he's a werewolf clearly, and a lot of his cronies are werewolves because they're all howling. Are werewolves commonly associated with air? Can somebody tell me? Like, why? But they've decided that just small bullying is not enough. I feel like escalation is going to be like the name of the game in this. So they bullied her a little bit, but now they're like, that was not enough bullying. We need to escalate and actually try to throw her off the tower. For some reason, he decides that instead of jumping, she can cut off her hair. Which I guess is humiliating for most people, but as someone with short hair, I'm just like, oh no. Not her hair. Like, I routinely shave my head, so like this would not work on me. But I guess some people are very attached to their hair. Not me, obviously. Yeah, she decides that rather than cut off her hair, the worst punishment in the world, she yeets herself off of the tower rather than cut off her hair. So, this is the kind of character that we are dealing with here. Also, I'm a little bit confused about, like, it seemed like they had support. Like, she and her sister had some support from, like, the peons. But now it seems like nobody is on her side. And maybe she just got into the household where all of the people who aren't on her side live. I don't know. But nobody was, like, even being like, hey, maybe we shouldn't throw her off the tower. And also, of course, she was worried this whole time, like, I have no idea how to use my powers, I'm totally going to die, what do I do? And now she's like, well, threatened with hair cutting, I will risk dying horribly on the ground instead, because I still don't know how to use my powers. So at this point, she's telling us that she would rather die than cut her hair. Obviously, these guys are jerks and I'm not on their side. It just seems like an odd choice after all this buildup of her being like, I don't know how to use my powers, I don't know how to use my powers. But of course, if you've read a book before, you know that she doesn't go splat. Maybe she's like privy to the fact that she's a character in a story, and she knows that like her powers will come in handy right exactly when she needs them, because of course she uses her powers, of course she saves herself, and then they all clap. I guess it sounds like everyone's like cheering her, and I'm like, wouldn't they be disappointed that she didn't go splat because they really wanted her to go splat? I'm confused by everyone's motivations, but I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now and I'm gonna go have some lunch, so I'll see you for the next chapter. Another day, another chapter of this thing. Yes, I have dyed my hair. I'm on a quest to dye my hair pink without having to bleach it first. It's not going well. I just want pink anime girl hair. That's all I want. The ferrets are out, but who knows what they're getting into. Hopefully nothing that I can't get them out of. We are back for another chapter with Tory, who I believe is the one whose writing I like better. So, I did want to talk about that last chapter, how I would suggest, were I developmentally editing this book, developmental editing, a service which I now offer, I would suggest to the author, hey, have that hazing ritual, the part where she's blindfolded and has to step off a little ledge, but she thinks it's the top of the tower. Have that to happen to everybody, like I thought it was, but then it turned out it was just her. Have that part happen to everybody, and then everybody's all relieved and they're having a good chuckle and oh ho ho, it was just hazing, and then take the bullying to the next level. A big problem that we can find with books where like extreme bullying or, you know, extreme trauma is happening to the character, and that's the whole point, is that they start up here and they stay up here. And when you stay on the same heightened level all the time, your reader becomes desensitized and you're not getting the impact that you're hoping for. So, but if you started out with like, everybody's being hazed, like I understand that you're wanting to show that she is singled out, but I think my version actually shows that she's singled out better than your version. That's my advice for you if I was developmentally editing that chapter. But let's go on to chapter 6 with Tory, see how she is doing with the dauntless crowd. Can't really picture them as anything but dauntless. So the nice girl, how am I running out of memory card? I must have forgot to empty it. I'm a dummy. I put a full memory card back in my camera. I'll be right back. Okay, I emptied it. Hi, Maureen. I brought Lan back with me. She was sitting on the floor being flat Lan. Like the flat lands, except for, you know, ferret ear. Flat Lan. Flat Lan. Okay. You wanna go down, buddy? Say hi to the people. Hi, people. Okay. The ferret's new favorite place to play is inside of the couch. I have so many tubes beside me, and a little castle for them made out of foam that was actually just like inside of a box for a piece of furniture. But it makes a great play castle, except for nobody wants to play in the play castle. Everybody wants to play inside the couch, which honestly, not that much of a problem, except for it can be kind of difficult to get them out of there. You guys gonna actually play in your playland? It's big, there's lots of tubes, it's great. But no, it's not inside the couch, is it? Anyway, we are back now that I have emptied the memory card. And we find out that at least Tory is not by herself. The girl Sophia, who I'm assuming is a nice girl from before, is hanging out with her. Sophia reminds me of, what was the name of that character in the Wednesday show?
Howdy, Rumi. Wednesday, this is Enid Sinclair.
I'm picturing her with pastel hair. I think I was told what color her hair was, but I don't remember. I'm picturing her looking exactly like Enid. I kept thinking about Darcy, wondering if she was doing okay with the heir. Heir, like the heir to the throne here, is capitalized, and I'm not sure why. The term is smooth sailing. Our lives had never exactly been plain sailing, but she never developed such a thick skin. Smooth sailing. I understand that phrases like this get lost in the jumble. I've heard people say all kinds of weird mixes of these like colloquial phrases. So anybody out there, do you say plain sailing instead of smooth sailing? I'm just really curious to know if like in some parts of the US that is more common. Unclear if the guy who bit her just bit her or if he drained her blood, because she's not acting like she's lost any blood, so I'm guessing he just like bit on her neck and then just sat there holding on to her neck. At least the Twilight vampires had rules. They were stupid rules, but they were still rules. I don't know why she thinks this. So she says, shouldn't that mean I'm gonna start getting a thirst for blood or an appetite for toe sandwiches? Do vampires famously eat toes? Hilariously baffling. And I'm glad that I can bring you along for the ride with me reading some of these. Oh, okay, they're energy vampires.
My name is Colin Robinson, and I am what's known as a psychic vampire, or energy vampire.
Vampires, I guess, in this world can't produce their own magic, so they drain it from other people. The friend basically tells Tori that she's about to be repeatedly attacked by vampires because Tori's magic is so strong because she's the special, or one of the specials. So she should just prepare herself to be like constantly attacked by vampires. I definitely believe, similarly to how I was pretty sure that Isla's teachers wanted her dead with all of their training, I feel also very sure that the people in charge of this fairyland do not want these girls to become queens and just hope that they die at this school. If anyone's wondering if all these characters are still smiling all the time, they are. I love how we're just being so casual and flippant about assault. I mean, obviously this is a weird world and a strange scenario, but like, just overall, authors, I just don't love that this is the direction we go, especially in books for younger audiences. I'm pretty sure that this still kind of qualifies as a young adult or a new adult book. But the friend, the Enid character, is like, well, you know, Caleb might tell all the other vampires to back off of you because he wants to bite you exclusively. And of course, that just means she's going to be assaulted by one guy all the time. But she says, if I had to choose one vampire pinning me against the wall and putting his mouth all over me, then Caleb Altair would be the top of the list. It's like, yeah, I know you're being assaulted on the regular, but he's really hot. You should almost be thankful that he's pinning you to the wall and putting his mouth all over you. And then our main character agrees. Like, if I gotta be bitten, I don't like it. No thank you, no thank you. Because you know it's teenage girls reading this. Like, even if this is new adult, it's teenage girls reading this. And we do not need to be sending them the message that if they're ever assaulted, if the guy was hot, that they should be thankful. So Tori, aside from her being just like a total cliche, is the sister that I like better because at least she's proactive. She is the more active of the two sisters. She makes more decisions, and I like that in a character. So they come to like this cave, and there's like a dragon that he's animated made of stone or whatever, and there's a gauntlet to get into their house, I guess, their dorm, I don't know. And she's like, I'll go first, and she marches right in there to do whatever. And I don't feel that Darcy yeeting herself off the wall, that doesn't feel the same as this, because that kind of just came the fuck out of nowhere, versus this, her making this choice, fits with what little characterization we've been given of her. She's the badass one, so it makes perfect sense that and we get to see her thought process a little bit too, that she would take the first step. Unlike her sister, who I am just like, why did you do that? What? You're dumb. So she realizes that she is inside the cave, inside a lava tube, which she knows about because some of her foster parents were into the Discovery Channel. Sure. And the door behind her has disappeared, so she's alone in this lava tube, and the only thing she can really do is just walk. Random. So she comes to this pit of coals, and she realizes that she's going to have to cross it. I like this moment where she's looking at her boots, she's attached to them. I relate. I have way too many boots. I like boots. I'm a little bit too attached to some of my boots. I'd be really sad too. And then we hear a growl from behind her, and I'm like, oh, it's that dragon from before. That makes sense. But instead, it's a lioness. Just a lioness. Why? Why not the dragon coming after her? What? And I mean, like, yeah, this is a magical world, it doesn't make sense, but like narratively within the magical world, I'm going, why did you choose that? When the dragon is obvious, it's right there. Her boots did pay the ultimate price. R.I.P. Tori's boots. They sounded like cool boots. But now she took the boots off and she's headed barefoot into the cave. Another thing to watch out for is was, which seems weird. Like, was? Why watch out for was, Julian? In a case like this, again, this is another situation of a word that you don't need that is weakening your sentence. Is it the end of the world that it's in there? No. But could we make our sentence stronger without it? Yes. A chill was creeping up my spine. A chill crept up my spine. Especially if you're trying to hit a word count, if you're really looking to show off your craft here, let's get rid of words like that. So watch out for was when you can make a sentence shorter and stronger without it. So she gets to a room in this cave where there's weapons all along the wall and there's 3 figures at the far end. So I'm assuming she's gonna have to fight. Get your bingo cards ready, everyone. She calls them fire mannequins, and I don't know why. Like, they're humanoid, but they have long arms and fire claws, and I'm like, what about that description conjures up mannequin to you? So she grabs an axe, and she chops the first creature in half, but it quickly reforms itself. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give her main character something good at high skill activity because she throws the axe and then she throws a throwing dagger and there's no like description of her having trouble or not knowing how to do it. She just throws the dagger and it goes through the mannequin, but that implies to me that she hit her target, it just didn't do anything. Gonna wait to the end of this fight scene, but I'm probably gonna give it to her. Then she notices that these fire mannequins are actually being controlled by people. And she goes, oh, I should probably attack the people. Here I thought maybe she could use her water powers because she has those. But then I'm like, yeah, but if you don't have water powers, how are you supposed to overcome this obstacle? As fight scenes go, this is fine. It's serviceable, but it lacks detail. So she's running around, they're getting in front of her, she's trying to get to the exit, but we're not getting anything to make us feel the moment with her. So let us feel the heat, let us hear the sounds, let us smell the smells. We've had no sound, we've had no smell. We've had some touch when she got hit by like one of the fire mannequins like grazed her with its claw. So more visceralness from this moment. I want to hear that their teeth clack as they come at you, or maybe the way that they move is really jerky and weird, or add some extra detail so we can be in this moment instead of just like beat, 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 beat. She's moving here, she's running there, she's doing this, she's doing that. I'd like a little bit more detail. Not a ton. You can bog down a fight scene with too much detail, but personally, if I was gonna up the ante of this fight scene, I would ground us there with her by making everything a lot more sort of tangible by using all of our senses. Oh, she is gonna use her water powers. Okay, I guess everybody else is normally supposed to defeat the puppeteers, but she wishes that she had water and then water shoots out of her hands. This is an odd choice for a dialogue tag. Hey, one of the students moaned. How do you moan the word hey? Hey. Like, how do you moan that word? But she has succeeded. She just ran past the puppeteers and they're like, well, she got past. That's all she was supposed to do. And if you guessed that our main character grins about it, you'd be correct, because everybody would be smiling, grinning, smirking, all of the things that you do, you know, the corner of the mouth turns up, all of the things. So she gets to the end, and there's Darius, who was previously seen outside, but now he's inside, whatever, he's a magic man. Are all of the other students waiting outside, or are they following her through the gauntlet? Like, are they all taking their turn right now? Who knows, who cares? She's the only important person here. But Darius is there, and then a wall of fire goes up between them, and she's got to go through the wall of fire. Oh, and he wants to burn all of her clothes off. Of course he does, because nothing in this book can be just magical. It has to be magical and creepy. So he's like, you have to leave everything from your old world behind, and very clearly to me that says, burn all your clothes off. She's fine with it, by the way. Once again, we have a moment where we could have had some character work, but instead it's just dismissed with a, and then I got over it. So her they had adoptive parents that died in a fire. It always made me a little wary of open flames, but I wasn't going to let that fear stop me. So we have a moment where we might have a character who like has an issue or a fear or a phobia or a trauma, but she just like gets over it in the next sentence. So they're really not interested in exploring anything about these characters except for the very broad archetypes that they are, which is the badass one and the more innocent one. We have a moment where she's worried that her hair is burning off, but it's not. There's a weird focus in both of these girls' chapters about their hair. So she walks through the fire.
So I will walk through the fire.
And her clothes are gone, and we have a brief moment where she's like, I guess I didn't realize he also meant my clothes. But then she realizes, more importantly, so what if she's naked? She had money in her pocket. And I'm like, okay, well, while you were thinking about the earthly things that he might be meaning for you to leave behind, the money didn't occur to you? Like possibly one of the most earthly things didn't occur to you? Okay, sure. Like that money is so important to her, but she's like, she walked through that fire without even thinking about it beforehand. Once again, we have a guy being creepy and the girl being fine with it because he is hot. I hate it. Thanks so much. I hate it. Where he's like, here's the key to your room, but if you want to come by my room later, and he's like leaning in and being all creepy and looking at her body, and she's like, damn, I kind of am considering it. It's like, why? Can we never just have, like, is it impossible in some of these creators' minds for guys who are very hot? Is it impossible for them to be creepy because they're so hot? And I know this book doesn't care. I know that's not what this book is about. It's not exploring those things. But like, boy, do I really wish that we did not have that just like as an overtone for romantic themes.
What are you doing, Chai Chai? You got a treat. I'm gonna put it in a corner.
She liked the banana.
Oh, it's a banana?
It's a banana.
You can't digest it.
I think you just put it back there. Like, she didn't eat it. Now there's a piece of banana behind my bookshelf.
Something better than a banana.
She's following you. Alright, I had to take a long break to go find Land. Guess where he was? Inside the couch. But we finish up the chapter with Tory saying something sassy to the hot guy. And he's literally the hot guy because, you know, fire. And then she goes to her room, and then she has a little bit of a breakdown because we want to know that she can be emotional too. So she has a little bit of a breakdown, but like also resolving to like only break down for a few minutes, and then it's back to being a hard ass. So that was what we got for that chapter. Next chapter looks like it's going to be a long one. I can't wait. But yeah, I mean, I get that these are romance tropes. I get it. I just don't know why. Like, why is that appealing? That good-looking people can just do whatever they want to you. Like, why is it flattering because they're hot for someone to do very creepy, disgusting things to you? Allosexuals, are you okay? I guess that's all I have to ask about this. And I'm gonna keep pointing it out. But, you know, if you love that trope, if that is your exact flavor of cheese, then you enjoy that cheese. I just don't like the messaging that it sends to young readers. The message is there, whether they internalize it or not, but they may, that if a hot guy is the one abusing them, they should be thankful. And that's gross. Oh, should we give her main character suddenly good at a high skill activity for that throwing knife? I also almost gave someone Why Is It Always the Dumb Bitches? Actually, that would be for the other sister, not this one. But not quite. She'll probably get there. Anyway, I've got to end this. I have so much stuff I need to get done today, but I'm also trying to like crank out at least one of these chapters a day so I can get these out for you. So I will see you for the next chapter.
Jimmy, Jim.
I'm not Jimmy Jim. He's Jimmy Jim.
Actually, I don't think we have anyone here named Jim. But we do have several patrons. Patrons like
Veda,
Ingrid, Roma, Pansing Pony, Julius the Nice Dragon, Haley, Sam, Kiara, Kihokaro, Mooney, Maria,
Kirsten, Bear, Jojo Bookish, Robin, Ursula, Caitlin, Jessica, KJ, LaFone, Amanda, Unicorn Jenny, Celia, Neon NVM, Alyssa, Rita, Deborah, Afra, Melissa, Swamp Goblin Waifu, Sophia, Merween, Kit, Hidden Glade, Light Julie, Belle, Patrick, Anne Sophie, Callison, Ray, Shelby, Zaire, Jesper, Rennie, Scribbling Cat, Savvy, Jenny, Amanda, Lisa, and Sarah.
And this is supposed to be a kid's movie.